Hi, it's me, B. I'm back again with some more thoughts on the Dougherty Dozen. Not necessarily them, but the mother of the children that are in the Kinship program, Shawna. And I hope that in some ways this gets to Shawna. Not sure if it'll make any difference, but it is what it is. She's been doing videos lately, and in those videos, I had questions on my last video that I put up about her and about what mom's plan was. What, not her plan per se, what she thinks she should do, but what they're asking of her. Because when children are removed, there is a safety plans usually for when they're keeping them in the house or with the, and so there may be one of those, and that's not, maybe wording it, the word may not be right, but there's a plan of what they want her to do to accomplish, what steps they want her to take in order to regain custody of the children. Typically that's going to be evaluated with her taking a psychological evaluation, for a better lack of a better word, and it's worded differently because it's more geared towards addiction and where she falls in that category. So it's kind of the same as a psychological, but it's more how addictive she is and what services she needs. So the services is what I'm looking for, is what are they asking, what services are they asking her to work. And usually that's depending on her level, would be an inpatient rehab, outpatient rehab, could be parenting classes of a certain level, it could be a one-on-one counselor, it could be family counseling. It's services. They're going to ask her to do certain services to meet requirements to get her children back. So that was my question on the last video, is what are her services? What are they wanting from her? So in the meantime, these videos started coming out of, I'm going to take a drug test, and I'll get into that. But so that was kind of the response that I could find to those questions I had. I did get some answers from the mom herself, but in that there's problems with her responses to those services. And I'm not saying we deserve these things, but if you're going to put them out there, we have questions. Okay, that's where I'm going with my point of view. Because in the bottom line of this is we shouldn't be involved in any of this. We should know any of this, but we do. And that's why do we know this? Because mom brought it to the table. So now that mom's put it out there, there's a lot of questions. There's been a few answers, but working the services. So I went back, and I haven't watched the Dougherty Dozen's videos or like delved into what this other situation of what people believe of them. I can't at this moment. I will, I mean, eventually, if that's what it takes to get to the bottom of this. But so went back, and the latest I could find was April 24th, 2022. And that is when Alicia took the kids, these two children, to Walmart for a haul for them coming into the home. They needed things, clothing and personal, they needed some things for the home. April 24th, 2022. Now, mind you, my understanding is that Alicia was after, so when the kids were removed, she was asked to take the children into the Kinship, and she hesitated to the point that they had went into foster care. The foster care wasn't exactly good. I don't know the story. I'm not going to try to, but something went in the foster care happened, and that the kids then came to live with her. So my first finding of this is April 24th, 2022. Mind you, that's next month. We're a month from that being a year. So I'm assuming it happened a week, 2 weeks, a month. I don't know how long prior to April 24th, 2022. So we'll just go off of that date, because that's when we know Alicia did have them in her care and custody. And it could have been before that, but that's the day she did this Walmart haul. And that's all I'm going to go on as a date. And that's just for this topic and not precise when the kids were transferred and that stuff, because there's something happened before that and we're not real privy to that because it is what it is. But so we didn't hear from Mom until 2 weeks ago. And we heard that through Radiant Brit. We heard that through a Facebook post that she made on her Facebook, and Radiant Brit picked it up and made a story of it. So that's how it was kind of brought to our table, in my table. That's where I found it from. So that would be, give or take, my dates aren't like precise, but 10.5 months into the kinship, Mom has a problem with the kinship, with Alicia, with the Dougherty Dozen social media events and things that are posted on social media. Where and when did you first start complaining about this social media issue? That's one of my questions. 10.5 months. 10.5 months. So in that 10.5 months, how many rehabs had you been to? How many counseling sessions? How many parenting courses? How many drug tests had you taken? Because now, I want to go one step further with the, she spoke to, not Honora. I can't stand that one. I'll get there. Dad Challenge podcast. So then she spoke with him. I don't like what he says or did, but if you listen to what he said and did, he found issues with Mom, with her story, with her situation that you can't deny it. There is no denying that Mom got her children taken away. Mom hasn't worked some steps. Mom had some text messages that now are very questionable in my mind, because my understanding, Mom, come correct me. My understanding is you asked for something from Alicia and Alicia told you no, and you said, then don't put my kids on social media. That's a retaliation. That's because you didn't get what you wanted. And it is here or there. She did say, yes, I take care of the families, because I've heard that brought up as part of, well, Alicia says she takes care of the family, not just the kids. If you're in active addiction, if you're not doing the steps you're supposed to be doing, that's enabling. That is enabling you to continue to be a bad mother. She's trying to help you to get your children back. If you can't see that, then you're still having issues in this situation. So recently, she's been hooked up with this Honora. In the Honora situations, you have asked for money. They've asked for money, saying you need money for a place to live. Then you come on and say, no, that's not what I need. I need someone to direct me to a place that I can afford on my disability of $985 a month. That's a hard one. That is very hard to swallow, because to find a place with 2 to 3 bedrooms on that amount of money that's not in a low income neighborhood is next to impossible. So there's that. And then you come back and said, no. I need a down payment to buy a home. Manufactured home, albeit, but because they're more economical, but you need a down payment. That's your job. And I mean, it's not about not helping you. That's not the problem. What are you doing to help yourself? So then all these tests, I'm going to take 3 tests a week. How many have you taken before you came to social media? If this is a case of a mother who has been working this program, done everything, jumped through these hoops, and they're just not giving her children back with a mountain of evidence that you have done everything beyond and above and have a home for them to come home to, I'm on your side regardless. I don't want to say I'm on your side if that's the case, because I as a parent, as a mother, first and foremost is if you can get your shit together, get your kids back, period. So it's not about like, oh, you don't deserve them, and no, but you have to work the steps. You're missing. You think it should just be, well, I said so give them back. I said someone could pick up my child in the middle of the afternoon, evening, night. You can't say these things because they've taken that right from you. If you have issues, go to your caseworker, go to your attorney, go to these people. The attorney's another thing. They said you needed money for an attorney because you had a court-appointed attorney. You've came back and said, no, my court-appointed attorney's working for me. I'm happy in that situation. So, do you see the problem here? Like, none of this is adding up. None of it. So then you come on and you say, okay, you've said it, it's out there, but you say, I want to get a home in this particular town so that my kids can go to the school in this particular town. Why are you disclosing where these children will go if they come home to you? If they're being exploited and they're having to, you need to be their safe place to fall when this is all over with. I don't believe it's happening. That's my situation, my stance on the situation. I don't believe they're being exploited. That's just my personal opinion. You're welcome to your own. But you still, at the end of the day, need to be their safe place to fall. If you're going to get them back, then they should go into a life of if this is what's happening in Alicia's house, that they're being exploited, then you should be the one to give them that place when it's all over with. And you're not doing that. And then, so the place to live, you're announcing that you have just taken your first parenting class and after 6 you'll get a certificate. Hooray. Hooray for you. And if you were doing this in months 3, 6, I don't know, but 10 and a half months, 11 months now, and now you've taken your first parenting class. I know they asked that of you. I know that they want these things of you. Okay, so, but I'm proud of you for finally doing what you're supposed to be doing. So please don't take it that I'm like, nah, don't do nothing now because you've done waited this long. No, do it and do it right. But then, so we have the parenting classes, drug testing. I'm going to take 3 drug tests a week and I'm going to post them. Where the hell are you posting them? Because the one on Honora's, I don't know if it was a short or live, don't quote me, but the one that was posted over there, it's questionable. I mean, I'm goes back to the Jessica Kent thing. What is maintenance medication? What is allowable? What is, because you're prescribed it, is that okay? I mean, I'm not going to go against the doctor's orders, but you didn't test clean, and I understand that maybe those are maintenance medications. So I'm going to go with that you've had a positive, negative drug test in the fact that those are prescribed medications and you're allowed to take those medications. But it wasn't what I would consider a clean test. And I just mean that in the respect of there were some positives for some of the drugs that you took that are prescribed, I'm assuming. So neither here nor there, but 1 drug test. And then I'm assuming that you're saying you posted a second one. That's not 3 a week. And I'm not saying you have to take 3 a week. Is that what you're ordered to take? See, you're making this very convoluted, and we shouldn't even be questioning this. That is my biggest thing, is we should not be questioning you. We should not be concerned in what you're doing and not doing. But you brought this to social media. You've created your own account now. You have your own channel where you're posting on there. I see you've taken the kids down because you did post the kids, and you're a mother. You have a right as a mother to post your kids, as mothers do. However, if you're going to come on here and talk about child exploitation and your kids being on social media, don't put your kids on social media. Don't. You're listening to the wrong people. You're listening to people who don't even watch for themselves what's going on. And that was proven last night. So think about it. Then you posted a video of, hey, I'm outside. I'm not even going to mention the name. It's out there. Everybody knows where you're at this place, in this location, in this time frame. Come see me, come hang out. Excuse me, what are you doing? This is the problem. This is the problem. It appears from the outside that you're not making logical, safe decisions for yourself and your children. Do you hear me? It appears from what you're putting out, from what Honora's putting out, from what you're doing with social media content creators, that you are not making decisions with your children's safety in mind. Why do you think they would give your kids back? And Lord, please understand too that I want you to have your children back. At the end of the day, if you can get your shit together, that's what I want. For them, for you, for everything. I was a child of an addict mother, okay? I want you to work through this. I want you to get to the other side of this. But you're doing it the wrong way. You're listening to the wrong people. You're hooking your horse to the wrong wagon. Do you understand me? There are people rooting for you. But every day you make a different mistake that we're like, what? Who can cheer that on? Who can cheer that on? So now you've taken videos down. You've put other videos back up. The dates are all convoluted. I don't know when you're going to group it, because you posted them when it was happening, and then you've reposted them. You've taken them down. You've re-uploaded them. There's just a short of you smoking a cigarette. Why? What are you thinking? Are you thinking? It's legal. It's not like, but it just doesn't show that your thought process is there. So maybe reconsider that. Maybe think about what you're posting and how you're doing it. You're not helping anybody. You're not clean and sober. You could do a day in the life of an addict getting clean, or what it takes to go into recovery, or those things are okay, but you're not doing it in a logical way when you have 2 children on the line. You're not. It doesn't make sense. It's not going to help you. And then, okay, so there was another one that you spoke about for having court was adjourned for months at a time. And let me reel it back in. And again, there's Anthropoulos on here on YouTube, and she shows custody court cases. So maybe watch a few of those and see what happens and what parents say and how it affects their custody case and what's going on with the CPS and the social workers, and just watch a few and get some pointers and tips on don't do that, or that worked for them. Maybe that's a good idea. So in that, when you say that the court's taking a long time, it's been, in my calculation, a year. I'm sure it's more. I'm not 100%, so I'm not, but a year. In that year, they're going to want to evaluate you and find out where you're at, on what level you're at. And if you need accelerated services, say inpatient, 30-day inpatient, 90-day inpatient, then they're going to have to set court out for 30 to 90 days to give you that. You can't ask someone to do that and have court the next week and say, did you do what we told you to do? I didn't have the 30 or 90 days to do it. So I don't know what they've asked of you, but those are things that's going to put court out at least 3 months in some circumstances, at least, in that respect of if there's a rehabilitation needed. first thing is to keep your kids safe, to get them stable mentally, physically, the whole thing. You know that. Come on. So if you weren't working the program and they went to court, let's say 30 days, they had another hearing. Okay, what have you done in the 30 days? Well, I looked for something, but I didn't find something. Well, I don't think I should have to. And it really wasn't that bad. And I'm just scenarios that I've seen. And, so then they're going to say, well, you need more time. And we're going to set this so you have time to find a counselor, find a parenting class, find what. I don't know what they ask of you because you're not really given that information. What did they want? What is your service plan look like? So we know, they haven't given you enough time, or they've extended this way too long, because in my mind, you didn't work the steps in the short amount of time. So the time gets, well, you're going to need more time. Well, you haven't done it in 30 days. We're going to give you 3 months this time. You didn't do it in 3 months. We're going to give you 6 months this time. Do you see where that gets into a year real quick? So 10 and a half months in your first drug test, your first outpatient group therapy, whatever, all these things are happening at 10 and a half months in my calculation, and you're thinking the court's doing you wrong. So I'm not on board with that. I'm not on board with that. And I want you to think about what you're saying, what you're doing, and what you're putting online, because it's not adding up. And again, it would be none of our business if you didn't put it out here. And in my opinion, you did it because you're mad at Alicia, and you found a group of people who are really mad at Alicia. So guess what? You found your people. But this isn't going to help your children. And aren't they the part that's important? Or is this about you getting some funds, getting some notoriety, getting some cash apps here and, where's your motives? What's the real agenda here? People, pay attention. Pay attention. Is she doing this for the kids, or is she doing this for her? That's all I'm asking. And again, back to Honora. So last night, you're in the comment sections with Honora talking about a damn tampon. That was a sock. Do you see the picture? It's a sock. Did you look before this happened? To put my daughter out? No, you put your daughter out there. Honora put your daughter out there. And that's the person you're talking to? And that's the person you're hooking your horse to her wagon? Mom, we don't do that. Especially not when we're in the system. So there are people here on YouTube that have been through the system. There's people here on YouTube that are in recovery. We got Discovering Nicole. We got Tira's been through the system with CPS. Tira Nicole. I didn't realize they were both Nicoles until I just said it. Got me. So Tira Nicole's been through the CPS system. She probably has some tips for you. We have Discovering Nicole, who's been through CPS and rehab and staying sober on maintenance medications. So that might be a good resource for you. Antropolis does the court cases for CPS, who can show you what to and do not to do by watching some other people go through what you're going through. But hooking up to someone who hates the woman that's raising your children right now, that's where you choose to go to? That's the source you choose to look at? This is going to be helpful for me. This is going to help my children. No, ma'am, it's not. Think about what you're doing. Be a mom. Do the right thing. Because right now, if I were in that situation of the CPS, the social worker, what have you, I'd be like, no, she's not ready. So if you think in May that you're going to get your children back in just a few short months from the time you started, that's not going to happen. And the more you put out here on social media and the more you deal with Honora, the longer it's going to take. Because you're not thinking correctly. So hopefully you'll wake up. Hopefully you'll look at some of these other resources of what to and not to do. You can learn from someone's mistake. It don't have to be your own. They can teach you what to do and also what not to do. So let's look at that. Let's try to get your kids back. But first of all, you need to be healthy. Ooh, I got an Nora finger. Look at me. You need to be healthy. That's disgusting. What you've hooked up to over there is disgusting. That's a hate train. That's going to do nothing for you, nothing for your children, and that's going to put a wedge between you and your children. Think about that one. Because that is hate. I've not heard one thing about not exploiting children over there. Not one. I've heard hate. I've heard the color of her hair, the time on her clock, the food she eats, the size of her children. I have so much to say on this issue, but this is to hopefully get you a wake-up call. I mean, I'm a nobody, get that. I understand it, but as a mom, as someone who has watched the system, I've never been through it. And I'm not even going to lie to you that I have, and I'm but for the grace of God, there go I. Because things happen. I get that. No one's saying you're a horrible person. You're doing some horrible things, though. So let's look at that. Let's try to fix this situation. Let's try to do for your kids what you need to do. And what you're doing is not working. So let's try something else. Let's try to actually work the program instead of working the people.